Hello everyone and welcome to Mr.MoFranchise. It's a continuation of the N.F.L. draft. In the last episode, we saw the first round be very helpful for the Jaguars as they were able to get a quarterback that will be their franchise quarterback moving forward. And they also were able to get a starting left guard to make their offensive line much, much better. Today we're going to see rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft. It's day 2 of the draft. Let's get to it. As a reminder of how I do the NFL draft rules, I like the draft to be much spicier, and so I do these rolls to see if the GM gets involved in some way with our selections. And I had 2 picks for the second round and 2 picks for the third round. For my first pick in the second round, I rolled an 82, so nothing happens there. I stay pat. My second pick in the second round, I rolled a 98, so we're good there. Then, in the third round, we had our first interesting roll. For my first pick in the third round, I rolled a 16. And the 16 says I trade down to later in the round, only offers given. So when I looked in the offers given, I was offered 2 fourth-round picks by, I believe, the Dolphins, and I took that. So that only left me one more third-round pick in the third round, and then that's going to give me many, many picks in the fourth round. So with my second pick in the third round, I rolled an 89, and that means nothing. I stay pat. I get to pick. So basically, for my 4 picks, 3 of them I'm staying pat, and then with one of them, I traded out the third-round pick to get 2 fours this year to give me many, many more picks in the fourth round. And just as a reminder, as my wish list goes, yesterday in the first round, we were looking to get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback at that, and an offensive lineman. I wasn't able to get Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields due to going 5-11 and having the 4th pick, but I feel very good in getting Trey Lance. And then with the second pick, I wanted to get an offensive lineman, preferably a tackle or a guard, and I was able to get Smith, the left guard. And those 2 were both 75 hiddens. So I feel very good about the first day of the draft. Now here on day 2, having several picks, having 4 picks indeed, we're looking to get some sort of linebacker, another lineman, a running back, and because I was able to acquire a cornerback in free agency, I'm really looking for best available at that point. So let's get to it. Let's watch the action for day 2 of the NFL draft. This will be rounds 2 and 3. Alright, so we're picking up the action here in the second round of the draft. The Minnesota Vikings have the first pick. They are on the clock, and I believe their pick is in. Let's see who the Vikings are going to go with. They're going to go with Thomas Booker, right in from Stanford, to help solidify that defense of theirs. And we skipped a pick there. I apologize. We had the Titans going with the running back, Travis Etienne from Clemson. And then for the third pick, the Indianapolis Colts have gone with Brevin Jordan, tight end from Miami. The picks came in rather quickly there, and we tried to keep up with that. And that means the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. Well, there's a strong indication that the Jacksonville Jaguars are leaning towards an offensive lineman here. With so many running backs available, there's a strong belief that they will probably be going with some sort of lineman, either a tackle or a center. Indications are, though, that the center is the place they would love to go here. Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma had a wonderful display at the combine. He had the second fast 40-yard dash, third best vertical jump, second best broad jump. His skills are in pass blocking and run blocking and impact blocking. All 3 are positive traits that Creed Humphrey has. He's only 20 years old, and it looks like the pick is in, and the Jaguars have selected Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma, and he will be a starter immediately for this Jaguars offensive line. Indications are he'll be a 73 hidden right out of the gates. This was an excellent pick for the Jaguars, looking to rebuild that terrible offensive line from last year. And the Jaguars had themselves a starter in Creed Humphrey. And that means that the Seattle Seahawks are now on the clock. Who will the Seattle Seahawks be going for with this pick in the second round? It looks like their pick is in, and they're going to go with Chuba Hubbard, running back from Oklahoma State, looking to bolster their running game for next season. Feel like they're a couple pieces off, and they feel like Chuba Hubbard is the back for them out of Oklahoma State. And our next pick is in. No, it's not, but the Jaguars are on the clock, and we do believe they are looking for a running back. There are still a lot of solid running backs out there, but there are some indications that Kylan Hill, running back from Mississippi State, might be their play. Now, he didn't have the fastest combine at 4.47, but the Jaguars have said they loved his back ball carrying vision. They loved the fact that he rarely fumbled, and they really enjoyed his ability to break tackles. Kylan Hill was a projected late first-round talent, so for the Jaguars to be able to pick him up here in the second round would be a good play. And the pick is in, and it is the case. The Jacksonville Jaguars have got their halfback of the future. It is Kylan Hill, running back out of Mississippi State. Good pick for the Jaguars. They've now gotten a starting quarterback and now another skill position. They have themselves a halfback. He's got excellent speed, starting out with a very good injury ability to stay on the field. And the Jaguars need that. They need their running back to stay healthy. Other positive strengths of this running back, his ball carrying vision is top-notch. He also accelerates quickly to the hole and is very agile. Still needs to work on a couple of things. He's not the strongest back in the world, but he is definitely going to be an upgrade for the Jaguars this season. Congratulations, Kylan Hill. You are going to be coming right out of the gates to start for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now on the clock is the Miami Dolphins. They are on the board ready to pick. I believe their pick is coming in shortly. And yes, it is. We're at the podium here, and here comes the call for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are going to be going with Jaden Lars-Woodley, strong safety. And now the picks are coming in quickly. The Chargers are going with Darion Kendrick, cornerback out of Clemson. And the New York Giants will be picking next, and they're going to be going with Trey Hill, center out of Georgia. That's a surprise pick. Some think they might have reached there. Next up are the Chicago Bears with the 10th pick here in the second round. And the Bears are going to select Talanda Hufanga, strong safety. That is a very good pick for the Bears here. He might be able to start for them right out of the gates. Next up are the Indianapolis Colts picking 11. And they're going to pick Jamari Saylor, right guard out of Georgia, And he most likely will see a starting role for the Colts as well, solidifying their offensive line. Next up on the clock, we have the New England Patriots with the 12th pick here in the second round. They're going to go with C.J. Verdell. Another halfback goes in the second round. C.J. Verdell going to bolster that running game for the Patriots. An excellent halfback out of Oregon. And that puts the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Will we see the run on running backs continue? Let's find out as the Cardinals are now on the clock. Looking at their draft needs, a running back really isn't something that they need. I wonder if they'll be going with some sort of lineman. The pick is in, and they're going to go with Asante Samuel Jr. What a steal here for the Cardinals. He wasn't a need, but with that kind of talent, it was hard to pass up. So congratulations, Asante Samuel Jr. You'll be at least getting some spot starts at nickel and maybe challenging for a starting spot for the secondary there. Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're going to go with Paulson Adebo, cornerback from Stanford. So it looks like we're having a little bit of a run on cornerbacks now too. And that's a very good pick here in the second round. Once again, a cornerback that could be ready to start on day one. If you can get players like that in the second round, you consider yourself very fortunate. And now we're going to go to the Chicago Bears again for another pick for them. And they are going to go with Javon Holland, free safety out of Oregon. So another player from the Ducks is going here. And now the pick is already in for the Rams. They must have been excited about this pick. They're going with left tackle Foster Sorrell from Stanford. And the picks continue to go quickly. Cedarius Hutcherson, lineman for the Falcons. And now the Broncos are ready to make their pick. The Broncos are going to be going with Puka Williams, another halfback, this one from Kansas. And the Broncos feel like they have a nice running back there to add to their collection of running backs. Next up, the Panthers are going to pick Brock Purdy, a quarterback. They needed their quarterback, and they think they have one in Brock Purdy from Iowa State. His draft stock had fallen over the recent couple of weeks, but he is grabbed up here by the Panthers, who might be starting him out of year one. We'll see. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and they're going to solidify their already tough defense with Lorenzo Neal, defensive tackle from Purdue. Next up, we have the Texans picking, and they're going to pick Jamar Jefferson, halfback out of Oregon State. That's at least the fourth or fifth halfback taken so far in this second round. And next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to select an outside linebacker from Georgia, Monty Rice. The Dallas Cowboys are up, and they're also going to take an outside linebacker, Chaz Surratt, right outside linebacker. And the Jets don't hesitate to pick next, and they're going to go with the right tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere, right tackle out of Ohio State. Next up are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're going to pick Luke Campbell, right tackle out of Michigan State. So now we have a little bit of run on tackles. Next up, we have another tackle leaving the board, left tackle Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. Congratulations, Lions. You've added to your offensive line. Next up, the Miami Dolphins have selected another lineman. And next up, the Kansas City Chiefs have selected a quarterback, Kyle Trask. Is he going to be Patrick Mahomes' replacement? We'll have to wait and see. Next up are the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to select a middle linebacker, Patty Fisher. Congratulations, Patty Fisher. You are now a new member of the Green Bay Packers. And next up, as we quickly get to the end of the second round here, we are on pick 30, and this is going to be the Cleveland Browns. They're now on the clock. It'll be interesting to see which direction the Browns go as they try to make it back to at least the AFC title game. They're going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver from USC. And the last pick in the second round for the Seattle Seahawks is going to be Calvin Ashley, left guard from Auburn. And now we're going to get right into the third round. The Vikings are picking first, and they're going to pick defensive tackle P.J. Mustipher from Penn State. With the second pick in the third round, the Titans are going to go with center Ben Petrula from Boston College. With the third pick, the Washington football team is going to go with a halfback, Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis. And that's going to bring us to the Jacksonville Jaguars pick. And I'm getting an indication here that the Jaguars might be trading away this pick. That's an interesting decision for a team that's already accumulated a large quantity of draft capital, but they may feel like they need quantity over quality with this pick. So let's go to the podium and find out what the trade is. Let's take it away. Let's find out what it is. It sounds like it may be a trade with Miami. And indeed, we're getting indication that it is a trade with Miami. And the report is it is going to be the third round pick this year for a fourth round pick this year and a fourth round pick next year. So Miami is giving away their fourth pick this year and a fourth round next year in exchange for Jacksonville's third round pick this year. So Jacksonville continues to wheel and deal with picks. So that's going to take us to now the Miami pick. And they're going to grab James Empey, center. Next pick is going to be the Seahawks, and they're going to take Hutchinson, the end for Michigan. The next pick is going to be the Bengals, and they're going to go with a cornerback, Adrian Fry. The next pick here in the third round is going to be the Dolphins, and they're going to take Mohamed Sindego. Our next pick is the Oakland Raiders. They're going to take Adam Anderson, outside linebacker from Georgia. Next up, the New York Giants are going to take Kennedy Brooks, halfback from Oklahoma. The next pick is going to be the Oakland Raiders. They're going to take a defensive tackle. The Colts follow with Tanner Morgan, quarterback from Minnesota. Followed by the Patriots taking cornerback Brandon Radley Hiles. And the Cardinals have finally taken Jalen Waddle off the board. Wide receiver Alabama. That is a far drop for Jalen Waddle, who really felt like he was going to be a first-round pick. Finally, a team grabs Jalen Waddle. This may be the steal of the second round for the Arizona Cardinals. Jalen Waddle was just flummoxed as to how he wasn't picked already. There was some indication that he might have had some off-field issues, but to drop this far, Arizona felt like they couldn't pass that up. Next up, the Eagles are going to take Falai Gatagodi, outside linebacker from USC. If I pronounced that correctly. Next up, the Raiders are going to take Amari Burney, outside linebacker. Next up, the Rams are going to take left end Tyreek Smith from Ohio State. Next, the Falcons are going to take a left guard, Cole Schneider from UCF. Next up, the Broncos are going to take Bryce Thompson, cornerback. Next up, the Panthers select Jeremy Ruckert, tight end from The Ohio State. That's a nice pick right there. Jeremy Ruckert has a lot of talent, and that's another great pick in the second round, this time by the Panthers. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens are going to select, and they're going to be taking Quay Walker, middle linebacker from Georgia. And next up, the Houston Texans are going to take Marco Wilson, cornerback from Florida. And that means the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. And you might remember for this third round, a lot of our needs have been met for what we had targeted, so this is really best available. So when we look at what Jacksonville is looking to grab here in the third round, they're going to be looking at the top of the board and seeing what's available that can really fit a need. And it's hard to pass up the Ohio State deep threat wide receiver Chris Olave. 6'1", 187. His combine was out of this world with a 7.3 combine score. His deep route running, spec catch, and catching are all attributes that the Jacksonville is desiring. They already have a couple of good receivers in DJ Chark Jr. and Laviska Shenault emerged last year as a receiver, but is he a better fit as a slot is the question. Colin Johnson did have a great season at the slot, but Jacksonville could use even more talent at the wide receiver position, a position that, like many of their positions they had last year, was very limited as far as talent goes. And when you have a guy like Chris Olave here in the third round, late third round, and he has second round talent, that's the kind of person that is very hard to pass up, especially when you've slotted in best available player. And he is clearly right now the best available on the board. And if you look at that big board, the Jaguars don't need a left end, they don't need a defensive tackle. And I believe the pick is in. Let's go to the podium to find out who the Jaguars are selecting with the 22nd pick in the third round. And it is in, and they do pick the hidden talent of Chris Olave from Ohio State, the 6'1", 187, 20-year-old who showed a lot of promise at Ohio State. And this is a steal pick for the Jaguars late here in the third round. Congratulations, Chris Olave. You are now a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars receiving corps. Look at that speed. Projected at 92 speed, 93 acceleration. He's got some work to do on his short route running and medium route running, but his deep route is looking good. His spec catch is great. Very low release. He's going to have to work on his strength and trying to get off the line. Definitely an area he's going to want to work on, but he's got great stamina and great entry ratings. Where he's going to have to work on is his release. But if he can work on his release, Chris Olave could turn into an outstanding receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We continue on with the draft with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're now on the clock. And the Buccaneers have their pick in, and it's going to be Devonta Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. Another great pick for teams here in late in the round here, the third round. Next up, Tyler Johnson is selected by the Jets to be an outside linebacker for them. Next up, the Broncos select Isaiah Loudermilk, right end. And the Lions select wide receiver Katie Nixon from Colorado. And the Saints pick Tyree Johnson. The picks are coming in fast and furious right now. The Chiefs select Colin Schooler, middle linebacker. And the Packers select Thayer Munford, left tackle from Ohio State. The Browns have selected middle linebacker John Ross. And with the last, second to last pick in the draft for the third round. The Buffalo Bills select Zacoby McClain, outside linebacker. And with the last pick of the third round, the San Francisco 49ers select left tackle Cade Mays from Tennessee. So that is the end of the second day of the NFL draft. Let's review the Jaguars wish list. We've acquired both a quarterback that's a franchise quarterback, an offensive tackle. We got another lineman, a running back, a wide receiver, and we also traded away a pick, and some of those others we were able to get through free agency. So really the only glaring need that we didn't do on our wish list for the first 3 rounds is we weren't able to acquire a middle or outside linebacker. Maybe that's something we look to in the 4th round, but you can clearly see that we've accomplished every other goal that we had set for ourselves. And we also traded away for another pick for next year. So feel pretty good with the picks that we made. We have skill position players now at halfback and another wide receiver, which is going to allow us to move Laviska Shenault to the slot. So Jacksonville feels very good about day 2 of the NFL draft. Well, thank you so much for watching today. It was an exciting draft. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button and tell a friend. The Jacksonville Jaguars are getting some excellent picks to make this year's team even better. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.